In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to find cash buyers for your wholesale deals. In other words, how to disposition a wholesale deal. Today, we're going to be talking about like what websites to post your properties on, how to build the list of cash buyers, how to vet the cash buyers, what contracts to use with the cash buyers. Does social media work? Does it not? How do you use public records to find cash buyers and email marketing as well too? To help us with that, we have Ben Toaff with Trusted Capital Homes out of Miami, Florida. They're a nationwide wholesaling company. Thanks for coming on the show, Ben. How are you?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Jose. Absolutely. We'll definitely give you some great insight to you and your viewers regarding how to, find the best buyers for their deals.
Awesome, brother. Cool, man. So I'm actually a real estate agent and I am doing my first wholesale right now,
Congrats.
which I've never done before. But the way I wholesaled it is I have a company that's what they do. They basically wholesale property. So I literally just signed it off to them and they found the buyer and they took
Who was that?
care
Like
of
New
that
Western
part.
or Keegley or something like that?
New Western, 100%.
Yeah, so on our marketing when we send out our deals, it specifically says we do not accept offers from New Western. It's like literally like the number one rule of my company. Absolutely not. You got fucked out of half your spread, but that's okay. It was your first deal. I've been there. So, but I'm saying like we would never assign a deal to New Western under no circumstances.
So, and that's why I wanted to have the episode. For me, like I like the acquisition side, but I kind of hate the disposition side, dealing with the buyer side. So for me, it was the easiest thing to do. And to be honest, it was just a number that I felt really comfortable with.
Did they actually close?
I've closed 2 of them already with them, but those were double closes, not a wholesale. This is actually like the first wholesale that
so
I
you're actually
do
leaving a lot of money on the table, unfortunately, because that they're doing is they're selling it for more to someone else. So you're 100%, you're putting in all this work and this energy in the acquisition side, which is exactly what you should be doing. But the problem is that you're just, you're probably leaving half the deal on the table.
And I'm okay with that right now. My belief is
you shouldn't be okay with that.
Time is money. So by the time I get to figure out the other part of it, it's going to cause a lot more time. So here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to do that. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go in that direction. I'm okay with leaving money on the table as long as I don't have to deal with that side yet. My belief is that if you get the acquisitions machine running, that's a more harder to learn skill than the disposition side, basically. So once you get that, at that point, you can implement the dispo. But obviously, you have a lot more experience than I do in this field. So if we wanted to find a cash buyer, what's the best way to do that?
Well, it depends. It depends. It depends on a lot of things, like where the deal is and what your margins are, etc. So, just to kind of give a little bit of background on myself, give a little bit of perspective, I've been doing wholesaling since 2016. So I've been doing this for almost about 8 years now. I've got well over $10 million in assignment fees closed. I'm currently the largest real estate wholesaler in Florida. Probably, I would say, top 3 or 4 in the country at what I do. We used to do strictly wholesaling back in 2022, and then what happened was the market changed, the interest rates went up, and it became a lot more difficult to sell deals to just wholesale off market to investors. So at that point, we started doing what a lot of companies do, which is we do a lot of novations, selling deals on the MLS to families. We don't do that with all the deals, but last year, about 50% of our revenue was actually sourced off of the MLS, and only about 25% of our revenue was sourced from regular traditional wholesaling, which is like selling it off the market to a cash buyer. And then the other 25%, give or take, we had a little bit of sub 2 creative finance deals that we did where we sold it we actually assigned it, but it was a sub 2. And then we also had a lot of deals where I just bought the property, and then we do what's called wholetailing. We bought the property, do like a trash out or just a light cleanup on the property, and then sell it to like either a family or to an investor on the market. But I mean, you're talking about the original wholesaling. How do we get this done traditionally to a cash buyer? There's a couple different ways to find buyers. When people first get started, kind of where you're at right now, in this wholesaling space is you usually do it at a local level. They're usually doing it just in their local market. Is that what you're doing, or are you doing it in a different
Yeah,
market?
100%.
No.
Not nationwide,
Yeah.
local market.
Which market are you in?
Ventura, California.
Right, so you're in a hyper competitive market, Ventura, California, which is it's good and bad. It's good because it should be super easy to dispo deals, super fucking easy. If it's an actual deal where it makes sense for a cash buyer, you should have buyers fighting over it. But if it's bad because you're going to have to work hard on the acquisition side, right? Because you got a lot of competition, you got a lot of people, seeking out these properties just like you are. But the spreads are large, and the price points tend to be higher in California. We've had some of our largest spreads in California. What were in your couple of deals you've done? What were the acquisition prices? I mean, they were like 900, 600. What were they at?
No, 600.
Yeah, so it's
700
still
in that range.
relatively high. Just so you can get an idea, I mean, our typical acquisition price on a property, we've done deals in 30 states, but I'm saying like our typical acquisition price is probably around 150,000. So the California, you're talking about 600,000. That's like an average price. It's a lot. It's a different type of
That's
market,
entry level.
right? But
Yeah.
the spreads, your spreads, if you're going after deals in Ventura County, California, your spread should be 50,000. I mean, at least you should be making 50,000 on those deals. 50, 60,000. Typically 10% of the acquisition price, that should be your spread. So if your acquisition price is 600,000, you should be looking to make 60,000 minimum.
Love it.
Yeah. So if I were to be in your position and I was looking for try to find cash buyers in Ventura County, the first thing I would do is I would go to local RIA meeting. I would go to a local RIA meeting, and I would just network with everyone there. I would want to find the biggest wholesalers that are doing this at a local level. Who are the big players in my local market? I would want to get hooked up with them, and they'll probably, if it's a good deal that you have, they'll probably disposition it for a fraction of what New Western would. They'll probably, maybe $5,000 or $7,000, but they'll probably charge you a way smaller fee than New Western would right off the bat, right there. That would be the first thing I would do. But because even if you were to go out and look for all the buyers yourself, it's going to take you a while to get all the buyers put together, right? But that's regardless, if you're going to JV it, you're going to want to minimize how much you're paying out to the other company. Next thing is I would if I had a specific property I was trying to disposition, I would look on Zillow, and I would look at all the houses in the area that were flipped. You can look at the highest sales. So look for the highest sales in the area. And obviously you can tell right away by the pictures, if it's like a flip property, you could tell that it's fully renovated. And go and look at what they purchased it for prior to flipping it. And then, look at PropStream, look up the buyer, the actual flipper, who flipped it, and then look up who owns the entity on the internet. Florida, it's called Sunbiz. In California, I'm sure they have a similar website. And then skip trace their number and call them. A lot of the times, the agent that sells the flip will be the owner of the flip. That happens a lot. Not always, but it happens a lot. So I would, a lot of times when you look up the flipper, it'll end up being the agent. So you just call the agent, and that's your flipper right there. That happens a lot. Then the other thing you can do is you can go on PropStream, and then there's a way to look up cash buyers on PropStream. I don't remember, because I don't do this anymore like myself. I have a team that does it for me. So it's like I don't actually do this day to day. But there's a way on PropStream to look up like the specific cash buyers in that area. If you go, I don't remember the exact way to do it like offhand, but if you go on YouTube, there's like specific videos that will explain like, okay, this is what you click on PropStream. I don't remember like directly offhand exactly how to do it. The other software that we use a lot of the time is Investor Lift. We're on cartel mode on Investor Lift. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but cartel mode, we have our buyers list is like 4.8 million buyers, some crazy amount of buyers like that, and it's all geo tagged on there. So it's like it'll separate the buyers out. Like, okay, these are the buyers for this county, these are the buyers for this county. So we've kind of already have that database of buyers built in. Obviously, you're not in that position right now, but if you were to get Investor Lift, like the Pro plan, which is like the basic plan, I think costs like $6,000 a year, something like that. And that plan will, even though it doesn't come with all the contacts and the buyers, it will allow you to, it has something called God mode. And God mode, it essentially what it does is it'll pull all the buyers that have done flips in the area, and it'll rank them by the amount of flips that they've done. And then it'll allow you to skip trace them right on the platform. So it'll actually pull their and skip trace right there, boom, in the platform. And if another user on the platform has already skip traced them, it'll give you the number without even skip tracing it. So, and if it's a verified phone number, meaning like they've actually verified that this is the correct phone number for that company, it'll be in green on the platform. So it'll tell you this is the correct phone number to reach this buyer that has bought this amount of flips in the area. So it literally puts it there right for you. When I first got started, and we wanted to, and this worked really well, but this was a long time ago. This is looking back. This is like 1864 way of doing it, but it does work, and it is something you could do. We got that we would pull a cash buyers list. We had this software called Reafax, but you could do it on PropStream, I'm sure. So we'd pull a cash buyers list, and then instead of calling them, what we would do is I would just send this was my mentor. He actually told me this. We would send him a little postcard, right? And the postcard would say, it would have two properties, pictures of the properties, and it would say sold for 200, ARV 300, sold for 400 or whatever it was, right? It would show the properties and then what we sold them for and what it was worth fixed up. And then we would have hey, text us at this number to be added to our list. Text us your email. And then it was my cell phone. So they would just text me and my cell phone. Yeah. Obviously, you could do any phone number, but they would just text me their email. And that worked really good. I got a lot of buyers like that. Probably got like several hundred buyers like that. And a lot of those buyers I sold deals to. A lot of buyers. When I first got started, there was a buyer. His name was Chris, one of the biggest buyers in Florida. I sold him 50 deals in 1 year, and I got his contact from one of those mailers. So that definitely works. That's another thing that you could do if you wanted to get some buyers kind of just like in quickly. And then also you'd want to put your website on there. We have like a buyer's website, and then we have a seller's website as well. So if you have a buyer's website, you'd want to put that on there. Usually most people just do it with like Carrot. Do you have Carrot or not yet?
No, we have. I used to have Carrot. We got a website called iBuyVentura for the sellers, not for the buyers. We don't have anything for the dispositions. We don't have anything for dispositions yet.
Okay, I recommend. You seem like a serious guy. You're doing well as a real estate agent. I recommend getting a website. You'll probably be doing this for a while, so getting a website for your sellers is pretty smart. You can get buyers to. You post your deals on there, and then when you start reaching out to buyers, you already have your deal posted. So then boom, you just send the link to the website, and they're able to see all the photos and stuff. You want to get a website.
I love it.
But yeah, Carrot's pretty good. It's kind of a little pricey, but it's just kind of already done for you, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice, but it's also kind of like you could get it for cheaper. If you did it yourself, but then you have to put in more time, like you said. I've had a Carrot website since I first started, but yeah, those are the main ways that I would recommend finding cash buyers. I hope that wasn't kind of a too fast, too furious, but that was those the main ways.
I had a couple questions about that. So one of the ones, because I actually talked to my contact at New Western. I said, why don't we do like a JV deal? Meaning like, hey, I keep a certain percentage, you keep a certain percentage. We're both incentivized. Let's see how high you can get up the value. If you were to do like a joint venture type of deal like that with the wholesaler, what would be like a reasonable structure to do that? And for our viewers out there, it just basically means like you're acquiring the property at a certain price, they're selling it at a certain price. Whatever profit is made, you get to keep a certain percentage, they get to keep it a certain percentage.
Well, I think it depends. I think it depends on like the deal. I think it depends on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends on how good the deal is. It depends on, like, if you sent me a deal, right? I'm an advanced wholesaler, right? I've been doing this years. If you sent me a deal and we could sell the deal in 2 minutes, then obviously it's more attractive for me to take the deal, right? So I might be willing to take a lower percentage, right? So I might say like, I don't know, I might say like 30%, right? I think that's like reasonable, 30 or 35%, but also it depends on the spread, right? So is the spread, if the spread is 50K and I'm getting 30% for just finding the buyer, that's phenomenal, right? But if the spread is like, let's say 10,000 or 5,000, I'm only getting 30%, it's not very sexy,
Not worth it.
right? So it depends on the deal. But you're talking about deals in Ventura, California. It's a great market. I mean, that's a great fucking market. I mean, that, like, for example, if we do a lot of Google advertising, right? So a Google
PPC.
that's how we get most of our deals, right? So Google advertising, the more expensive the better the market, the more expensive the leads are, right?
Yeah.
So a lead in Ventura, California on Google probably costs like $400, $500, just a fucking lead, right? I mean, not every lead is a deal. So if you have a contract that has a potential profit of 40, 50 grand, then I would tell them 20%. I would tell them 20%, but it depends on the deal. Like, is it like you have to be able to underwrite the deal and look at it and be like, okay, I think this, could be sold for 650. I got it for 600. So it's, but the thing is, New Western, they're really screwing you because, I mean, they're closing on it. And then I hate New Western. So you asked the wrong guy about New Western.
Well, you can see what they sell for. Yeah, you see the tax records and the double closes that I've done, the margins have been stuff that I feel comfortable with, because also there was a couple deals that I wasn't sure how they got the prices that they got. I was like, God damn, like they got that price for that property. I didn't think you could find a cash buyer for that property in that location.
So California is like one of the best markets. I mean, it's happened to me. I've been in that position. We had a deal it was somewhere in California. I don't remember. And we sold it. We got it for $970, and we sold it we didn't even know. They lied to us. We sold it to the wholesaler for $1 million. They sold it for $1.1 million. We lost $100 grand. I was so mad. So I mean, that is a lot of money.
What would you have done differently to get the 1.1 in that case?
Well, my problem was I didn't know what it was worth, so I just put it up. I just priced it too low because I have the buyers. I have the buyers on my investor list. I mean, we have the buyers in California. So
would you say that investor list is the best way to dispo deals, like getting an account there and posting it on there? Then they blast it out, and then
the
they
problem with
basically
investor
reach
list is you're not gonna get the cartel one. You're gonna get the basic one.
What's the cartel mode? What does that look like?
We have all the buyers.
And just keep in mind, in real estate commissions, we make about $2 million a year. So I think we can afford the cartel mode.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. But you're proving my point. Like, I know you're a sharp guy. I saw your Instagram. You dress well. You got a nice watch. Like, I already know you're a sharp guy. So, like, you should not. If you can make a lot of money in traditional real estate, there is no reason to call those clowns at New Western to sell your deal. I mean, there is no. If you can sell $1 million houses, you can sell a wholesale deal. 100%. Done. It's crazy.
Well, let me ask you this. What does cartel mode look like? What does it offer? And this is not an investor lift commercial. How much does it cost? Give me more
So
details.
Investor Lift, I think they changed the price. I mean, I'm like one of the OG.
Roughly.
Well, one of the. I think it costs 50 grand now for the cartel mode.
Okay,
50
cool.
grand a year.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, there's another mode. It's like called Lieutenant, which is like almost the same features, but not like all the same features, and it's like half the price. It might be like 20 grand or something like that, or 25.
So what's the benefit of having cartel mode? Like, what does
So
it do that
Investor
makes it
Lift,
like
if you just
so?
have the basic plan, you can post your deal, but it doesn't give you the buyers. Like it doesn't give you the buyers list. It just lets you post it, and then it'll let you like scrape the buyers, and you have to like manually call them one by one, right? So that's a lot. It takes a lot of time, right? But at least it gives you the buyers. Like it allows you to pull the buyers and call them, right? So it's not. But as in cartel, you already have the buyers. So it's essentially a collective buyers list of everyone on the platform, all the big people, the big wholesalers, Ryan Pineda, all the big people out there. They where it already has like all the emails and the phone numbers for the buyers. And it has a tag. So it'll like tag them. This guy buys in this county. This guy buys to hold. This guy buys to flip. It has all the contacts already in there.
So it makes it super simple, basically, in other words, basically. And one deal basically pays for that. So it's as simple as just posting it, and then it'll give you all that information based on
But you can
where you're
email
doing.
them and you can text them. So you can actually email them your deals, and then you can also send them a text blast that says, "Hey, we just sent you this deal," right? Because they get a lot of emails, so sometimes you got to text them too.
How many can you do multiple contacts at once? Like 20 people at once where you
7,000.
text them at one time,
You
basically.
can send
You
an
can do
email
it.
blast up to 7,000 people at one time. Yeah,
I love it. What about I have heard of this thing called buyer sonar.
never heard of
Like
that.
you never heard of that with Audantic? No?
I use Organic. I just started using Organic for their seller data.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of that one now.
So investor lift would be basically the best one,
I
basically.
mean, Investor Lift is kind of like it just makes it the most straightforward. I mean, it's just like boom, this is the thing. I mean, you got some money to invest in your business. Boom, you get Investor Lift, and then you either hire a virtual assistant or you hire someone in your office, to go in there and look for the buyers. But yeah, I mean,
Got it.
that's what I would do. But yeah, I mean, because like if you're taking the time to find these deals, you're selling to new. I mean, you're leaving probably half the deal there, half at least.
Yeah. So I think the way that it worked out is I think we made like a 70,000 acquisition fee. And I don't know this yet, but I think that they made like 30,000 or something like that. But they're taking on the double closing and everything like that. So there's some fees associated with that. So they probably made like 20 grand, which to be honest, that was a number that I felt comfortable with just because I didn't have to do like very much to it. Not only that, I'm in a mastermind called Collective Genius.
Mm-hmm.
And through that mastermind is where I met my contact at New Western, basically. But what I was going to say to you is, let's say that we have a list of cash buyers, and let's say that how do you vet them? How do you know that they're not another wholesaler or somebody looking to be a middleman on the deal?
Well, we just let them know that we let them know that our assignment of contract is not assignable. First of all, we've had that happen where they sign the contract and then they assign it, and our thing's not assignable, so they can't assign it, right? So when that happens, it's happened a couple times. We just take more money. We just say, well, what did you assign it for? And maybe we got it. Maybe we had a $10,000 assignment fee, and they assigned it for 5,000 more. So then I 15. Well, we want 3,000 more. If you want to assign it, we want 3. So now we'll just take part of their spread. That's what we do. The other thing that we do that prevents that is we ask for big EMDs. We always get big EMDs, and we always get it to our title company. We never negotiate that. So it depends on the spread. So a lot of people say, like for the EMDs, they're a little lax, and I think that's a big mistake. If you're assigning a deal, we do based on spread. So for example, if the spread's small, let's say like 10,000, then we usually get like a $6,000 EMD, right? But if the spread is, let's say, like 25,000, then we usually get like 8,000, right? But for example, if it's like a really big spread, like we just did one today where it's going to be like 80 grand, we got 25K from the buyer. So
your whatever you're requesting can be different than whatever you have in your contract, basically. So if you let's say you're putting a $10,000 deposit, that doesn't stop you from putting 20 that you want $25,000.
Well, we never put 10,000. We put 0 or 1 penny on our AB. That's what we do. Just we never do that. No, we put like a penny on the AB, or we'll put NA. We'll put NA, like no EMD on our AB.
Do you ever get pushed back on that?
No. But because you're dealing with, because you're talking about sellers that are, I mean, yes, sometimes, but we'll put $1,000. But the thing, you're talking about sellers in California that are selling a $600K house. Yeah. So these people are a lot sharper. We buy houses in Sumter, South Carolina, with a purchase price of $1,500. I mean, we do a lot of deals like that. We do a lot of deals where we just assigned a house in South Florida where the house, I mean, the house is falling down. I mean, it's really bad. Like, the guy living in the house was smoking cigarettes in the house when we signed. Like, these sellers, they don't know what's flying. So it depends. It depends. But no, we always ask for a big EMD. We always ask for a big EMD, like depending on the spread. Sometimes our EMD is larger than the spread. That's the best case scenario.
Got it. So let me ask you this, like, let's say that you put it on Investor Lift, and let's say that you have a multiple buyer type of situation, which is obviously ideal. I know how to handle that on the retail side. How do you handle that on the flipping side or on the wholesaling side?
Well, it's not only about the price. It's about, are they going to close, and how much EMD are they going to put, and are they going to bitch about, you know, like, are they using a hard money loan? Are they all cash? So it depends. I mean, we usually like the buyers. Obviously, you know, if you're saying multiple offers and they're all at the same exact price, then if price is not the factor anymore, then it's about who's going to put a bigger EMD, who's going to close faster. Those are things we take, and also who have we worked with before. I mean, if we have a buyer that we've sold 5 houses to versus a buyer that we've never sold anything to, then we're always going to go with the guy that we know, right? Because we know that we already have we know it's going to work out smoothly with that guy. We've already worked with him before. So those are kind of the factors that we would take into account. A lot of times, if it comes down to like 2 buyers, we'll just say we're going to send the contract to both buyers, and whoever signs it first gets a deal. Done that. We did that today.
That's what I was going to ask you. Now, what if that happens, and is it now whoever signs the contract first and gets their money into the escrow account, or is it just whoever signs
we won't execute? So we always send the assignment unsigned. So we always execute it after the buyer. You never should execute the assignment first. So you, just like on a regular retail deal, the buyer signs first. The same thing with this. So we send it to them unsigned, and they sign it, and then we sign it. So we'll send it. You know, that's how we do it. So we won't.
But do you get the deposit before you sign it?
No. So we usually, also, that's the other thing. We usually want the EMD as fast as possible. So, you know, we'll put on the contract like they have to submit EMD either that day or like the next day before noon. That's usually what we do. And we always make sure that like it's by a wire transfer, because sometimes you'll get buyers and they're like, oh, I want to drop off a check, or they'll do a personal check. And if they do a personal check, it's a disaster, because that could take like 6 days to clear.
Not only that, but it could be insufficient funds as well too, right?
It's terrible. So you have to demand wire transfer. You're not going to deal with these issues as much in California, because I've done deals in California. It's a different beast. In California. But those are the traditional types of issues you might deal with in a regular wholesale deal.
I love it. Cool, man. Anything else that you think would be helpful for anybody looking to find cash buyers, or anybody looking to dispo a deal?
I mean, I think I mentioned the majority of the things, but I would say that today's game, like, it's not about cash buyers. You're leaving a lot of money on the table if you sell to cash. We almost never sell. We hate cash buyers. I mean, because we used to do that. Like, we used to sell cash buyers. You can make more money novating. learn how to novate the deals, learn how to get them on the MLS, learn how to, because that's where you make the big spreads. I mean, you got to learn how to novate the deals. I mean, also, like, these houses you're getting, were they in rough shape or they weren't even in rough shape?
You're talking about like putting it on the MLS after the closing, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, if it sometimes these houses, right, that are wholesalers will sell them, if you could just buy it with a hard money loan, and then paint the house and trash it out, you, instead of making 50, you can make 200. I've done it
Yeah.
before. So I mean, that's the magic there, is learn the exit strategies, learn what's really makes sense. Learn to maximize your spreads. That's what's gonna take your business from an average spread of 20 grand or 30 grand to an average spread of, more. That's how you really become a real estate investor. That's how you make a lot of money. I mean, we don't even wholesale that much anymore. It's very little. I mean, we don't. 25% of our deals are wholesale, but those are like, I mean, those are the small spreads. We make our big money now when I buy the house. We just buy it, clear it out, and and you obviously you have a successful retail business. You've got some funds that you can invest. If it's a good deal, just buy it. Don't even wholesale it.
Love it.
Just buy it. I
Cool,
mean,
man.
just take the juice out of the fucking orange and just take it down yourself. I mean, you're the one that you put in the effort. You run after these sellers and spend the time going after them, calling them, whatever you got to do to get the deals. Take all the juice. Don't leave any juice for anyone else. It's fine. Does that make
I love
sense?
it. Cool, man. It does. I think for me, it's I'm basically getting familiar with different disposition options, just like you're saying, and then just figuring out like which one is right. Like I think one of the reasons we wholesale that one is we just bought a primary residence where it costs about $1.7 million, and we're doing a refinance that's closing at the end of June. So for that reason, I was like, I've got a lot of funds tied up in this. I'm just going to wholesale it quick $70,000 versus taking it down.
Was the house in
Not
good
only that,
shape?
but it was a suicide in the house,
Oof.
and there was no access to the property.
What
So that was part
did
of
you
the
get
reason
it
as well too.
vacant or you didn't get it vacant?
I haven't even seen the house,
How did you get that lead?
like from the inside. Probate.
So you cold called them, or you mailed them, or what?
The cold call, yeah.
Nice.
Not me personally, but someone from my team, yeah.
Okay, so you use a cold call lead from a probate list, and then
Correct.
someone suicided, and then what a lead, what a fucking lead. That's a great lead. So I mean, that is phenomenal. Those are the ones. That sounds like a PPC lead to me. So I mean, so you cold called them. You got the house for 700. You said 700 or 600?
600,
What was the
605.
ARV on that house?
I'd probably say like I'm not 100% sure. I think like 850, somewhere around there, basically.
And you had a
Somewhere
buyer,
around
or they
there.
had a buyer that was willing to pay 800, or sorry,
800,
700.
800, 700, and then I sold it to them at 675, basically.
I mean, it's not a bad deal. Don't
And
get me wrong. That's a great first deal.
and it all happened within a period of like 3 days. So it was just like literally like I tied it up, sent it to them. 2 days later, they're like, all right, we have it executed. Next day, earnest money is in. It's done. I don't have to do anything else. So to me, that was like,
What year built was
just
the
so
house? What year
simple.
built was the house?
I think like 1960s. 1960s, yeah.
Can I see the address? I'm curious. Can I buy it? I mean, can I see the address or no?
It's already done. I'll show you off camera right now. Here's the last thing. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and somebody wants to like maybe get mentorship, I don't know if you offer any coaching.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they can follow you online. What's the best way for them?
Yeah, so my Instagram is America's Top Wholesaler. I do offer mentorship. I do coaching calls, and I also I have a course where I kind of like go into all the details of my business. I talk about recruiting, how to recruit top salespeople. I talk about acquisitions, dispositions, everything in detail, broken down. Marketing, everything. I kind of go into all of it. My course is on the link in my Instagram on America's Top Wholesaler. But but yeah, I mean, that's the best way. The best way to get in touch with me is the same way you guys did, which is through my Instagram.
I love it, man. Cool. Well, I want to say thank you, and we'll stay on afterwards. I'll share with you some details. But I want to say thank you for taking the time to be on the show. For our viewers out there, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you feel that this episode be helpful to somebody, make sure to hit that share button. Sometimes I do episodes for my viewers. Sometimes I am a little selfish and I take the time to learn something myself. This one was a little selfish because I wanted to learn a little bit something, but I also think it'll be helpful for our viewers as well too. So thank you guys. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate your time.